Assalamu alaikum people. Today we're going to talk about how to be a better conversationalist. My name is Mohammad Hassan Khan and let's get started. So, before we actually get into the problem of how to be a better conversationalist, we're going to address the two main types of people that you will come across, right? I'm sure you already know this, but as a recap, let me just give it to you anyways. First, there are introverts. What are introverts? Introverts are people who generally do not seem very interested in having a conversation, or generally do not seem very interested in talking, right? The second are extroverts, people who feed off the energy of others. So, like, extroverts are basically those people who are very energetic, those people who are very positive in social situations. Those are extroverts. And introverts, as I said earlier, but as a counterpart to extroverts, they are in essence people who feed off the energy when they're alone, when they're inside, when they're in their own comfort zone, right? So, with that being said, let me give you 5 main tips on how to have better conversations. The first is correct your body language. Your body language says a lot about you, a lot about you. What does correct body language mean? Go to my earlier videos and you'll find out what is correct body language. The second one is that you need to be a better listener. Once you listen, you can understand what the other person is saying, and you can have a conversation based on the other person, what they're saying, right? It's very important to listen in a conversation, because what most people do, most people just assume what you are trying to say and just be like, yeah. That loses your audience very quickly. Not only it loses your audience, it shows that you do not respect your audience enough to hear them out. Otherwise, most people just keep on talking, right? To avoid that, you need to be to stand out, you need to have the ability to listen, because listening implies that you're giving the other person respect enough to hear their own ideas, and secondly, you're giving the other person back what they're saying to you. So if you say something to me and I'm listening, for example, let's take a phrase. Yeah, so when I went out to the mall day before yesterday and I met this person. So I would ask you a follow-up question on that. Oh, how'd you like the mall? Or how'd you enjoy your interaction with the other person? This implied this I could only ask this question if I had listened to your idea, right? If I had listened to your idea, I could ask you this question. If I didn't listen to your conversation, if I was just paying attention there, here, there, anywhere but you, first of all, you'd feel disrespected, and second of all, you'd be like, this person's not listening to me, so there's no point in me continuing to have a conversation with this guy. Third thing is you need to understand the importance of eye contact and your vocal tonality, because vocal tonality is very important, as well as eye contact. As I mentioned a video on eye contact earlier, but vocal tonality is something that's very different. When you take your pitch higher and you end on a high note, it's basically like you're asking a question. Like, really? You see how my pitch got higher? Whereas if I end on a low note, then it's a statement. Like, really? That's a statement, right? So you need to understand that the importance of vocal tonality, and you need to avoid being monotone, because trust me, you've had professors in your life, or you've had teachers in your life that are monotone, and you absolutely hate listening to them, right? So avoid being monotone, avoid being have fluctuations in your voice from time to time, especially when you're making a point. Have fluctuations, or take pregnant pauses, like take pauses and then say something, because that conveys more status, that conveys more assurance, that conveys more confidence. Because most people you will find in the street, they talk and talk and talk, and they don't have pauses. Pauses have two importances. One, pauses allow the other person to be engaged more in your conversation. Secondly, pauses allow the other person, if you have finished your sentence and then you pause, pauses allow the other person to ask questions regarding the statement that you just gave. So that is very important. The fourth thing is you need to have knowledge about a lot of different topics. In today's society, knowledge is paramount. You need to have a lot of knowledge about most of the topics that could be talked about in public, such as politics, such as world, such as anything regarding the specific country that you're in and the hot topic there. Keep up to date with the news. Keep up to date with the social environment that you're on. Keep up to date with pop culture, because pop culture, whether we like it or not, it's very, very influential towards our lifestyle. And number five, this is the most important. Ask interesting questions. Because if you don't ask interesting questions, the other person will not most likely want to have a conversation with you. Because you can ask interesting questions. Let me give you an example of how to ask an interesting question. So as I said about the mall, right? I went to the mall yesterday and I met this person and he seemed very, very happy. Right? That's a statement. My friend said that statement to me. Now, what could the possible question that I could ask that would be interesting question, right? It could be like, oh, you went to the mall. Did you find this, and this shop? And if so, what was the best product that you saw? That's a very, very out there question. Obviously, you're not going to ask this to every person, but let me give you an example that you can ask this to every person regarding that specific statement. You could say, why was that person very happy? It's a very, very simple question, but it shows that you're interested in the conversation. Not only does that show that you're interested in the conversation, but it also shows that you respect the other person to continue the conversation that they're trying to have with you. So, in essence, this concludes our topic for today. I hope you guys understand, and I hope you guys like and subscribe. And also, please, down below in the comment section, please leave a comment about what I could do to improve, or how I could, or what topics I could make future videos on. I would really appreciate that. And as always, I'll link my socials down below. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.